Hey everyone, it's Joy here for Honeybee Stamps. Today I'm going to show you how I foiled the inked background on this card and also using the beautiful lovely layers Peony flower. So here is that flower I have die cut from white cardstock. Here are all the pieces for the large flower. Then you have the leaf and then you have the pieces for the smaller flower. Now for some reason my die set was missing the long stem piece for the little bud, but I'm going to show you how I made do with that. Let's do some ink blending. I have some Ranger ink, archival ink colors that I love together. It kind of gives me a beachy vibe, and being it's getting close to summer, I wanted this color scheme to have that beachy vibe, even though the card itself is not beachy. So I am using Ranger archival ink in Coastal Coral. That is what we're ink blending these flowers, and I'm starting with the back layer first, going to the darkest, and I'm kind of lightening up my ink blending as I move on down to the smallest part of this large flower. Then I'm going to be using Seafarer and Pebble Beach Ranger archival inks. Again, this is a fantastic color blend, and it was really fun to use that for this type of card, even though it's not really like a beachy card. Now these lovely layers from Honeybee Stamps, you all know, is just absolutely fabulous. I cannot get enough of these, and I'm sure you can't either. So you definitely need this in your stash for sure. I also wanted to just say I missed last Wednesday's video because I was sick. I'm still sick, but I'm getting to the end of it, and I just want to say a huge shout out to my design team member, Kelly. Thank you so much for putting a video up for me when I could not do it. So thanks again. Okay, I am using Shabby Shutter's Distress Oxide inks for the beautiful leaves. And I'm just doing quick blending, kind of letting the tips be a lighter color, just concentrating that darkest color on the center. And then those little pieces there goes to the little buds. Now for this background, I have a piece of white A2 size cardstock, and I'm coming in with the Seafarer Ranger archival ink, the ink pad directly to the cardstock, and I'm just going down about halfway on the card, and then just dragging my ink pad down till I get the amount of color that I want. I love this look. I don't know what about this, but I love it, and it's so simple, and I think it is so stunning. Now I'm going to bring in the Pebble Beach, and I'm going to go on either side of that Seafarer ink. And I originally thought that this was going to be the bottom of my card, but I actually flipped the design over. So we're going to set that aside to dry before we do the foiling on that background. So let's glue these layers of flowers together. And as you can see, I'm only adding a little bit of glue right in the center because I kind of like to bend up the petals just to give them a little bit more dimension. Now, if you wanted this flower to have a tremendous amount of dimension, I would add foam tape in between the layers, some of the layers, all of the layers, and it would be really fabulous. But I did not do that, obviously, and you can just see how stunning this is. So here's where I'm just going to kind of bend up some of those leaves. So obviously I don't want to add glue all the way out to the ends, just in the center. Then I'm going to adhere that smaller bud. I have 3 of those. I'm just going to show you one of them, and then I'll show you how I adhered the little leaf pieces at the base of these cute little buds. And then, like I said, for some reason my die was missing the whole stem piece that this bud adheres to. So I just die cut more of those leaves, and I just trimmed it off and added that to my little buds there, and it worked out perfectly. So I love the tweezers because that definitely helps, these reverse tweezers, and Honeybee Stamps liquid glue. All right, let's foil this. I'm going to lay down the Ombre Dots hot foil plate just on the inked part. I'm going to use a piece of low tack tape as a hinge to put in place, and then I'm going to cut my Aura foil that I'm using from Spellbinders to put that between the cardstock and the foil plate. And I'm going to put the shiny side to the foil plate. Now I am putting a hinge here because if you run your foil through and say your image didn't foil perfectly, all you're going to do is lift up your plate just like that, take the old foil out and put a new piece of foil in and run it through again, and you know that your image is going to be perfectly lined up. So I'm going to press my little button because it's ready to go. That's going to blink for about a minute. This is the Spellbinders Glimmer hot foil system machine. I'm going to pull this out of the dock and put my shims on top, and I'm running this through my Platinum 6 die cut machine. I'm going to dock that back in. Once I'm done, I'm going to run it through nice and slow, and then I'm going to take a look at this before I peel it off to make sure I got a good image, a good foiled image, and all the dots foiled beautifully. So now I can remove that plate, and be careful, it is really hot. Now let's get this card together. So like I said, I originally thought that that was going to be at the bottom, but I flipped it over and I liked it at the top. So I added some foam tape behind the flower. I'm going to tuck in these leaves around, and then I trimmed off the stems of the rest of the leaves and glued those to my little buds there. Super, super simple. And I just kind of like to see how everything looks before I glue it down, which I'm glad I did because I liked this design much better. And I'm actually going to end up moving this little bud one more time a little bit lower so you can't see the line of where the ink stops and starts. So I do want to cover that up just a little bit more. Just adding a little bit of liquid glue behind those buds because I want those to stay in place. So I moved that bud there, and that's perfect. Now let's do some sentiments. I am using the Inside birthday stamp set. I am prepping my cardstock with an anti-static powder tool. I'm using the sentiments that say happy birthday, and the other one says you're one of my most favorite people to celebrate. I stamped that with Honeybee Stamps clear ink, and I sprinkled on some gold embossing powder and then just heating that until it's melted. Then I'm going to use the coordinating dies that come with that Inside birthday, which we all love how Honeybee Stamps has coordinating dies for their sentiments. I'm going to tape that in place with low tack tape and run that through my die cut machine. So bringing in more of that gold, which is going to mimic those gold ombre dots from the Ombre Dots hot foil plate that is on our inked background. I'm going to pop up these sentiments, of course, with some foam tape because you guys know how much I love dimension. And then I want to finish with some small clear dewdrops. I love those. I think they're so, so pretty, and it's not really going to take anything away from this design because you do really want to see those gold foil dots on the background. And so this isn't, to me, isn't going to take that away. So I'm just going to use a little bit of Honeybee Stamps liquid glue to put those in place. And this is adhered to a white A2 size card base. And then this card is completely finished. And isn't that just so beautiful? Look at that beautiful gold foil on the background. It's soft and subtle, but it is so, so perfect. And of course, the lovely layers. Peony die is just absolutely gorgeous. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you enjoyed this project, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye.